visible.
Okay, thank you. So now we will see what are the different kind of recent technologies which has been developed in the IC engine. Okay, so let us start. This is a start of your unit number 5. Okay, so we will see what are the recent trends in internal combustion engine. So just we will see what is introductory part. The internal combustion engine, we know that it is uh, in our practice from 1885. Okay, so it has been invented in 1885. 85. So with the lasting engine concept, the outmarker are modernizing their IC engines and vehicles to be more economical, more environmental friendly, and safer, considering the gasoline storage and proposed emission norms and safety standards. So we are just going to discuss from 1885 to this 2021. Okay, so what is the change in that engine? What are the recent development in that engine? So what are the stages of the development of the engine since 1885? So with lasting the engine concept, so the engine concept has been developed in 1885, and after that, one by one, the outmarkers are modernizing their IC engines. Okay, so we have seen the vehicles to be more economical. Okay, we have to develop according to our need. We have developed the vehicles to be more economical, to be lightweight, and environment friendly. So exhaust gases control we are going to take by complete combustion, by avoiding knocking, by avoiding this uh, auto ignition and all the things whatever we have seen up till now. That are the recent developments what has been implemented in the IC engine. So, considering the gasoline storage and the proposed emission norms, recently we have seen this uh, BS4 to BS6. Okay, so BS4 to BS6 we have converted it into, and now the recent vehicles which are coming from the industry for selling purpose, they are BS6 norms. Okay, so what are the norms and why they should follow, and what are the reasons for following this type of all the norms standards? Let us discuss the various modern trends in the internal combustion engines and automobiles. Okay, so now what is the today's trend? So we can see a product will comprises this all the three things. Okay, without these three things, without this individual, the product will not be complete. Okay, so first and most important thing is what, the customer expectation. Okay, so when you go for buying a new car, then you will see that car features that's economically. Then we can see this mm, resale value of that car. What is the maintenance value? What is the average of that car? Then reliability, durability, then driving range. Okay, so comfort of that engine, then safety, then what is the size of vehicle, and then more features and equipments which are available in the car, most recent things. What are the electronic equipments that are been installed in that car, and also we will see the customized vehicles also. Okay, Then cost of ownership is also available, RTO cost. These all things we are going to see when we are manufacturing the car. Okay, so just we are taking one automobile, that may be a two wheeler, four wheeler, or eight wheeler, or heavy vehicles also that comes into the account. Okay, now we will see these all the things, these all the parameters that has to be considered while you are designing a new car, while you are manufacturing a new product, or you are developing a new product. So first and most important thing is what? The customer expectation. Even if you are good, you are the best car manufacturer, but if you keep the cost very high, and we are not giving the features accordingly, then it is not of any use. Okay, if you are just compromising with the safety, then also the low cost vehicles also will not be considered. Okay, if you have very good price, you have resale value is very good, but fuel economy is not good, then also it is not a choice of customers. Even if you have the price, good price, resale value, fuel economy, but the maintenance cost is very high, then also it is not feasible for the customer. Even if you have these four things, then if it is not reliable or it is not durable, then also it is not of any use. Even if you have everything that has been discussed now, but you don't have driving range, if you don't have comfort, if you don't have the bigger space in the vehicle for keeping our utensils, or whatever the things are, baggages or everything. Okay, then more features and equipments, that is just what the secondary thing. Customized vehicle that also is seen. Okay, so these are the things that should be seen while you are developing any new car. Okay, so second thing is what? Environmental or legal requirements. So what are the legal requirements? So while you are developing any car, so exhaust emission norms, it has been followed or not followed. Okay, so it is not followed, then it is not having any use. So fuel consumption, there is CO2 or CO2 emission, that has also been seen over here. Then noise, recyclability, and safety. These are all what the environmental and legal requirements. Safety is the customer expectation also, and these environmental legal factor also. Okay, then another one that is depend is what the business cost. So market share, total volume, then manufacturing cost, and the product variety, that is resource uses, material, energy, water, then precious metals. What are the things you are using for manufacturing? You should consider all those things while you are developing a product. Okay, so this is what the trend right now we are facing for customer expectation, business cost, and environment legal factors. Even if your car engine is very good, one of the best in the world, then also these are the all challenges, what we can call it as, that should be uh, what we can say, satisfied to everyone, that is customer, then environmentalist, then to the business also. Okay, so will the internal combustion engine be able to cope with these challenges also in future? So we can see there are some challenges, that is exhaust emission, then fuel economy, safety, noise, and vibration. These are all the challenges what we have already seen. So now here we can see this is the what graph, emission percentage of 1995 level. We have seen 1995 as a reference, and we have seen all these things compared with that one. So in 1990, we have seen the things, that is CO emission, NOx emission, then diesel, then VOC, benzene, so SO2, CO2. The main things are CO and NOx, and SO2, CO2. Okay, these things are main for the emission, and we can see this is the percentage of emission. So in 1990, we have this CO and NOx. These are the two things which are dropping continuously. It was 120% of emission from the automobiles. Okay, so now after that, after 5 years, it has been dropped to 100. Then after again 5 years, it has been dropped below 80%. Then it has been dropped below 60%. It is up to 50 or 55. Okay, then also it has been dropped up to 2010. We have seen that is below 30. Okay, so nowadays in 2021, we can see it has been dropped below 20%, and it is a very big uh, challenge we have accepted, and we have overcome that challenge. Okay, so these are the two things which has been dropped. This SOT also, it has been continuously dropped down up to the 15, and it is continuous or constant till 2010, what we have studied. Okay, now the current solution, that is direct fuel injection. Okay, so what is the current solution behind that? So direct injection is where fuel is injected directly into the cylinders. Okay, not mixed with air in the inlet manifold and inlet ports before drawn into the cylinders. So before that, we were just using the fresh charge, okay, air and fuel mixture, okay. So that we were taking from the carburetor. Carburetor was mixing that all the things, but nowadays carburetor has been removed from the engines. All you might know this thing. Recently, it has been removed from the engine because it has some disadvantages also. Nowadays the fuel is directly injected into the combustion chamber, and what are the consequences of using this, and what are the benefit of this is, we will see. So direct fuel injection system, what we are going to take. So due to multiple injections, due to multiple injections, uniform air fuel mixture supplied to the cylinder, what is happening here? The difference in the power developed in each cylinder is minimum. The difference in the power developed in each cylinder is minimum. So it is up, nearly equal power is developing in each and every engine. Noise and vibration from the engine is less because whenever we were when we were using this inlet manifold and the carburetor, there may be some uneven mixture is to be produced from carburetor sometimes, and because of that, so uneven power is developed, uneven power stroke is developed in each and every engine. Because of that uneven power development, there may be some jerk in the engine by some the multi cylinder engine. One cylinder is providing one piston cylinder is providing more power than the side by. Then what happened? The power difference will be there, and because of that unbalancing of engine will happen, and this unbalancing will cause to the noise and vibration, and that is avoided, and that is neglected, what we can say, and decreased because of this multiple injections, that is uniform air fuel mixture is supplied to the cylinder. So since the engine is controlled by ECU, we know that the engine is always controlled by ECU. Accurate air fuel mixture supplied, resulting in the complete combustion and leading to the effective utilization of fuel supplied to the uh, combustion chamber, hence low emission level what we have seen is very less nowadays, and it has been revised, the norms has been revised to keep the emissions up to the particular level. Okay, so BS6 Bharat Stage 6 has been launched, and these rules are mandatory for each and every automobile. So this is what the benefit of using the multiple injections or uniform air fuel mixture. So here in this graph we can see it is graph of power output to the RPM of engine. As the RPM of engine increases, or power of the engine increases, the speed of the engine is also increases. Carbureted version, in carburetor version we have skipped up to this, and we have the power up to this for this what we can say, the difference between that we can see over here. Okay, so up to this RPM, that is 3500 or more. So for that, or we can say, we can compare with this only. Okay, this is 32,000, but can call it as here. So 3200 RPM. The carbureted version is producing 85 kilowatt of power output, or power output we can say, and the injected version it is producing much more, that is up to 105 kilowatt power produced by the injected version or injection version of the engine, that is new version. So this what we can say, 85 to 105 that is 20 kilowatt. Can you imagine 20 kilowatt of power is developed more by the new version of engine. So this is what the new or recent trend of IC engine. So now here we can see, sorry, some of the types of injection system. So already we have seen that MPFI, multi-point filler injection system. So this is also a recent development. So in this, what we can say, in this system, cylinder has a number of injectors to supply spray fuel in the cylinder. So here the system is given like this. So in engine, this is what the multi-point fuel injection system. This is controlled by this injectors, or sorry. So this is switches, and all the battery system has been applied with this, so that it can control the fuel injection inside the combustion chamber. CRDA engine, common rail direct injection system. So in this system, all the injectors are supplied by the common fuel line or manifold called as common rail. Okay. Next one is what, variable wall timing and lift. This is also a new advancement in the IC engine. What is the meaning of this? Principle to use a two-dimensional advance or a retard of either an engine intake or exhaust camshaft to better match the engine's operating condition. Two main factors that determines the IC engine performance, that are the point at which the valve open and the duration of the valve being opened. This is what the very important thing what we can see here. There is two position advance or retard either an engine's intake or exhaust camshaft to better match the engine's operating condition. So this wall timing is very much important, as we all know that if the wall timing is not very good, so the suction will not get possible. The very good suction will not get possible. Then uh, full exhaust is not possible. Exhaust gases or delivering the exhaust gases from the cylinder is not fully possible because of uh, uneven wall timing. So that to control this thing, we need to keep the variable wall timing according to the engine speed, according to the fuel supply. We need to keep this variable, because as the speed of engine increases, then the wall timing should be adjusted with that one. Otherwise the engine timing that will be disturbed, and it will create some problem. So that we are having these two main factors that determine IC engine performance, and that are what we can say: the point at which the valve opened and the duration of valve being opened. So there are some of the types of variable for the valve timing. What are that variable? VTEC engine, that is variable valve timing and lift electronic control engine. Okay, so this VTEC works by varying wall timing and lift to compensate for the time delay and out of phase arrival of the air fuel charge at the intake valve. Okay, so what is this variable wall timing lift electronic control? What is the reason to install this one? So what is the work of this? It works by varying wall timing by lift to compensate for the timing delay and out of phase arrival. So the timing delay and out of phase arrival, that will be controlled by this VTEC. Okay. So this shifts wall between two separate sets of cam lobes. So here we can see this. These are the cam lobes are there. Okay, these cam lobes are doing what? According to the engine speed, it is operating. Okay, this lobe is pressing the wall and creating open to the wall. Okay, creating the passes to come the charge inside, or exhaust gases to go out. So it opening, it is opening the valve in the top lobe. Okay, this lobe is opening the valve and this lobe is closing that one. Okay, so it is attached with the crankshaft. Okay, so we can see this. These are there are two sets of the lobes, one for high speed operation and the one for low speed operation. So these two lobes are available over there. So at base circle and at the top, we can say here the oil pressure and all the side pins moved by oil pressure. Okay, these side pins will move because of this oil pressure. Okay, so this is what the simple innovation that has been done in the IC engine. The next one is what advantages of this one. So we can say this low fuel consumption will be there because of this wall timing. Okay, So as fuel is completely burning, okay, so there will be saving of fuel, appreciable increase in power. So as not only the fuel consumption is low, but also it the appreciable increase in power is also takes place. So यहाँ पे डबल बेनिफिट है हमको, है ना. So lower tail pipe emission, lower tailpipe emission. Then Voltronic system. What is Voltronic system? It is which can continuously vary the opening stroke of the intake valve to optimize the engine power and efficiency. So, Voltronic system which can continuously vary the opening stroke of the intake valve to optimize the engine power and efficiency. So we can reduce the pumping loss over here. What we can do here? We can reduce the pumping loss over here. So this is what the advantages of multi-point fuel injection and whatever the VTEC and CRDI. Okay, so super and turbochargers are also the new invention has been done in the IC engine recently. So what is turbocharger and what is supercharger? Can anyone please tell me if you know? Any one of you try to explain please. Hello? Anyone can try? No one. So see here, the turbocharger and supercharger are mean for increasing the efficiency of your engine by use of the temperature of your exhaust gases. Okay, we are using the temperature and speed of exhaust gases. Okay, forcing more air into the cylinder allows more fuel to be burned. Okay, so more oxygen available in the engine, more will be the combustion uh, rate. Okay, so generating more power from the engine of the given weight and size. That is the basic idea behind supercharging and turbocharging. Okay, so what we are doing, only we are using the hot gases and its speed for forcing air. Okay, so compressed air we are forcing into the engine, so more air we are forcing into the engine so that it is generating more power by burning the fuel completely. So first we will see what is turbocharger. After exhaust gases leaves the cylinder, they pass into one of the chamber. Okay, here we can see this turbocharger. It is using. So what is this using? This exhaust gases are coming inside this chamber or spinning turbine, what we can call it as. Okay, the outlet of exhaust gases is given over here through this pipe. Okay, so it spins the turbine in opposite direction. Okay, it spins the turbine in opposite direction. So what is happening, the chamber or the compressor, as this compressor spins, it draws the outside air and forces it into the engine intake manifold and finally into the combustion chamber. So it is attached with the supercharger compressor section. Okay, the what this compressor is doing, it is taking extra air from outside environment and forcing it into the engine combustion chamber. Okay, so as combustion chamber is getting more and more air, more and more oxygen, so it is getting fully burned and the efficiency of the engine getting increased. So supercharger is doing what? So they are the key difference between a turbocharger and a supercharger. It's a power supply. Something has to supply the power to run air compressor. In supercharger, there is a belt that connects directly to the engine. Okay, so supercharger is not using any exhaust gases. It is using the engine output only, engine power only. Okay, so to run the air compressor. In supercharger, there is a belt connect directly to the engine. It gets the power the same way that the water pump or alternator does. So, so here we can see this. This is the structure of your supercharging. Okay. So in this, what we can see here, here we are running the air compressor on this, and in the supercharger there is a belt that connects directly to the engine. Okay, so it gets its power the same way that the water pump or alternator does. Okay, water pump and alternator is doing what, this in the same way it is doing, or it is working. Two type of superchargers are there. One is the root type, twin screw type, and centrifugal type. Okay. So this is what they one of the type, that is uh, supercharger, and this is the second type of supercharger. Okay. So here there are advantages of supercharger and turbocharger. So turbochargers are lightweight, mechanical, simplicity and durability. Okay, so it is lightweight and it has a mechanical simplicity and durability. It also uses the exhaust, so less of fuel is consumed. Okay, so we are using the exhaust or waste energy, that is exhaust energy. So we are using that one, so no extra fuel burning is there. Since the volume of the exhaust gas is dependent upon the engine load. The greater the load, the more the boost. Okay. So if the engine has more powerful, then more powerful will be the turbocharging. Okay, superchargers are the small and for lighter engine, so they are designed for the lighter engine, not for the heavier engine, and it is easier to install. Both help in the control of detonation. What is the main cause of engine damage? That was the detonation, and that will be controlled by the supercharging and turbocharging. This is the triple benefit what we can call it as. Okay, so there are some hybrid engines are also available. What is hybrid engine? Nowadays we are using these hybrid engines. So hybrid propulsion system uses a petrol or diesel engine with an electric motor in some combination. Okay. The variation is to have the wheel driven only the electric motor or current coming from the batteries. The petrol engine drives a generator to charge the batteries. It can be turned on and off as needed. So this is what we are charging the battery in a house. So here we can see this petrol or diesel engine with electric motor in some combination. Okay, so electric motor also will be used over there, and engine is also used over there. So one variation is to have the wheel driven only by the electric motor or motors. Current coming from the batteries, the petrol engine drives the generator to charge the batteries, and it can be turned and off as needed. So these engines are not used for driving purpose, it is used for generating the electricity, and on that electricity it is running directly. So other variants is to have a relatively small petrol engine drives the wheels through a mechanical transmission, and an electric motor provides assistance with a high power which is needed for undertaking and climbing hills. Okay. So while climbing hills, we need to have a very high power of electricity, and we can say the relatively small petrol engine drives the wheel through the mechanical transmission. An electric motor provides assistance when the power is needed, overtaking and climbing the hills. So extra power that is assisted by the motor. Then there are types of hybrid engines. So hybrid electrical petroleum in vehicles, in continuously outboard recharge vehicle, electrical vehicle, or hybrid fuel, that is dual mode vehicle, and fluid power hybrid vehicles. So these are all the things. We will not go in detail with this. Then advantages: the lower emission and better mileage is there. Then braking are the configured to capture kinetic energy. Those batteries need to be charged by the external source. So in hybrid engine, the batteries need to be charged by the external source. So reduce the dependency on fossil fuel will directly affect fuel prices. Okay, that is also advantage of this hybrid vehicle. So rotating linear engine is also one advancement in the engine. So it is developed to reduce the engine friction and increase the fuel economy in the heavy duty vehicles. Okay, and the engine inner rotates and unique hydrodynamic phase seal replaced with the conventional head gasket, thus overcoming the piston ring or liner wear around top dead center due to the low magnitude of sliding speed around. Okay, these are what the liner which has been used in the engine. Okay, so it is the effect to reduce the friction in the engine, or the area which is coming in contact. So the friction is reduced, because area is reduced because of this rings we are using, liner we are using, ring liner, what you can say piston ring liner we are using, and that is only reducing or wearing out. So that wear out is very less. Instead of whole piston surface area, only the liner is coming in contact with the cylinder wall, and the friction is lowering and efficiency is increased. So the advantage is what? Improve efficiency and reduce the fuel consumption. Then prolonged engine life. So engine life is also uh, increased due to this. So this is what all about today's lecture. Despite the green type internal combustion engines with its latest and advanced technology that will keep powering vehicle for the uh, foreseeable future. Okay, so there may be many advancement which are recently done with this engine, so that we will see by some videos, and that will be shown you. Okay, so if you have any question, you can ask me. If you have any question, you can ask me.